Don't squirrel away the complaints. Don't squirrel away the issues for another day, because that creates passive aggressive energy and it avoids being transparent to the employee, which if you're a good manager, if you're a good restaurant operator, that is the fair thing to do. And that's the way you help people become successful, is by being honest with them.
Annie, what advice do you have for operators who tend to avoid those really difficult conversations?
The advice is so easy. Just have them. Just force yourself to have them. They're so uncomfortable. They stink. It's not fun to have a conversation with somebody and say, look, you're really not doing a good job. But you are not you're doing that person a disservice if you aren't being honest with them. Because as I said earlier, if you aren't honest with them about the problems with their performance or their conduct, you're going to run into a surprise termination where you terminate them eventually and they're shocked. So what I would say, and as we said earlier, terminations that are surprising are the worst type of terminations out there. And so what I would say to restaurant operators, to managers, is just have those difficult conversations. Don't squirrel away the complaints. Don't squirrel away, the issues for another day, because that creates passive aggressive energy and it avoids being transparent to the employee, which if you're a good manager, if you're a good restaurant operator, that is the fair thing to do. And that's the way you help people become successful, is by being honest with them, even if those honest conversations are tough.
Yeah. Matt, just to add to that,
Please.
I think in speaking with restaurant managers, chefs, operators, I think a lot of them can come together and say, I want to have these difficult conversations, but then they get into like a busy service and all of a sudden it's 4:00 and you're opening the doors. And so I think part of having them is planning ahead and scheduling them. And in my opinion, I never recommend that you sit down with an employee after a really busy night of service or time of service at like 9:00 when you've all just worked for 6, 7, 8 hours. Like that is probably not when the feedback's going to be most well received. I think scheduling them ahead of a shift, and if you can, letting the employee know that you want to just have a feedback conversation. A lot of times, even conversations I've sat in on, the employee walks in for their shift at 3:30. They don't know they're going to sit down and maybe have a conversation about their job responsibilities. They're immediately put on the defensive because it's unplanned. They're like, oh my gosh, why is HR here? I must be getting fired. It's just like cue doomsday. So as much as possible, if you need to have a feedback conversation, figure out when you're going to have it and plan it ahead. Find a slightly private space so you're not doing it around all sorts of employees coming through. Let the employee know ahead of time. And if they're like, what are we meeting about? Be honest. Say, hey, I want to just chat with you about your work and how it's been going. I think that is the best way to set up both the operator and the employee for the feedback to be well received and to actually get it done. Because sometimes people will be like, I got to talk to this person. I got to talk to this person. And 5 days go by and all of a sudden it's Saturday and then it's the following week. And so just some tips on kind of how to actually, yes, commit to having the conversation, but then like get it over the finish line.